Ugh. 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 Oh, that's disgusting.
Hello, my friends. Hello, and welcome once again to the slightly trashy Vaughn Manor. Yeah, we really need the cleaning staff around this place today because we're talking about Garbaugust. Garbaugust, a reading event created by Criminoli that'll be happening next month. A whole month devoted to reading trashy books. I've talked about this event before, but since I've talked about it, I got a whole load of trash that has come in. I mean, I have so much more trash than I did when I came up with my TBR for Garbaugust. Now, I've got so much trash, I don't even know where to start. And that's where you come in. I'm going to go through the trash, these big piles of garbage here, and you tell me if anything stands out. If there's anything in here that you think I should prioritize, you let me know, and then I will. One thing I have to read, though, is the garbage that just came in. The lady of the manor took one look at this and just tossed it in the trash. And I had to retrieve it for Garbaugust because it's Piers Anthony, Bio of a Space Tyrant. Bio of a Space Tyrant. Apparently, Piers Anthony is automatically trash anyway. I didn't know that, but I have since been informed that Piers Anthony, and in particular, this series of books is just trash. Hey, y'all, listen up. Recommended these. He's going to read these as well. This is Bio of a Space Tyrant, Volume 1, Refugee. And you can see our Space Tyrant there with no shirt and his terrible mullet. And I'm not sure what he has in his right hand. I'm not sure what that is, but it's looking a little trashy, whatever it is, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, Refugee, and then this is followed by Volume 2, Mercenary. So, yeah, our Space Tyrant is looking a little classier there. I think he cut his mullet for this one, but her hair is just out of control. But yeah, so I've got 2 volumes of Space Tyrant. I'm going to read at least one during Garbaugust because, I mean, look at that. How could I not read that? I mean, seriously. So that's that. Now, there's a couple other things that are probably must-reads. So let's dive into the adventure portion of our trash. The first book I'm probably going to read for Garbaugust is still going to be Blade. This is Blade, #1, First Strike, by David Robbins. David Robbins, who wrote a whole lot of trash. He wrote Blade. I've also got Blade 2, Outland Strike. I've also got a Blade double, which has Vampire Strike and Pipeline Strike. So there's our hero Blade. Now, this is not Marvel's Blade, of course. This is, you know, much lower into the gutter than that. Now, these came out of a series also written by David Robbins called Endworld. My Endworld is defaced. Poor Blade is defaced there. This has Capital Run and New York Run in it, but the Endworld series was, I guess, a really long, trashy series, post-apocalyptic nonsense. And so I got a lot of post-apocalyptic nonsense that I could read. Speaking of, I've already talked about Jerry Ahern's The Survivalist series. And so I've got to at least get one of the Survivalist books in there, maybe 2. Jerry Ahern, man, The Survivalist. I pretty much have to read The Survivalist, right? I mean, for Garbaugust, that's pretty necessary. Now, Ahern did do some other series, like The Defender there, and Surgical Strike by Jerry Ahern. That looks, I'm not sure what's going on that cover, but yeah, Jerry Ahern was kind of a king of adventure trash. So I have lots of adventure trash, but this is probably the most important adventure trash that I've got. This is Operation Super Miss by Andrew Offutt, the king of 1970s paperback porn, who also wrote science fiction and whatever this is. Operation Super Miss. Yeah. So I've already said that I mean, if you have this book and Garbaugust happens, you pretty much have to read it. Oh boy, so that's kind of the adventure-y stuff. Let's move on to the horror stuff. I've got a lot of horror stuff. First of all, I already read this, so I'm probably not going to read this, but I can't even, I mean, I'm talking about Garbaugust. If anybody has a copy of Feral by Bertrand Ruchet, it's not how you pronounce his name, but if anybody has a copy of this book about killer kitty cats, it's an automatic, you have to read it for Garbaugust if you haven't read it already. It's Feral, it's about killer kitty cats, and it's as great as it looks, man. It's, I mean, look, meow, it's terrifying. Cats aren't scary, but it's a terrifying book. So I've got a lot of other horror that might fit the bill. You let me know. I still have to read the next couple Necroscope books, but I really like Brian Lumley. I'm not even sure that I would call his books trash, although they do look pretty trashy if you look at how they're packaged. Got the step back cover. Woohoo! I don't know what's going on with her. And, you know, the first two books, they had every kind of horror and tons of gore, and they were just crazy. So I guess they were trashy. It might give me a good excuse to finally get to reading this, even though I don't know if Brian Lumley's trash or not. I'm pretty sure John Ferris is, though. I'm pretty sure John Ferris is. This is Son of the Endless Night. Library Journal says this the first really worthy successor to Blatty's The Exorcist. Really? Really? I'm not so sure. Satan! I think that's either Satan or just some demon. Who knows? And that's a creepy looking kid. You always got to have the creepy looking kid and these old paperbacks from hell. And this just looks trashy to me, right? This is trash, right? Let me know if I should read this or if I should read John Saul, because this just looks, this is the God Project. I think I got both of these from Juan from Plagued by Vision, so thanks, Juan. A couple really trashy books for Garbaugust. Garbaugust wasn't even invented when he sent me these, so thanks. This one I got from Coffee Cats and King, and it is a cursed volume. This is Panzer Spirit by Tom Townsend. I hear great things about this book. I mean, look at, first of all, the cover is amazing. That is an amazing cover about haunted Nazi tanks that have something to do with elf magic. I don't know. Oddly enough, Coffee Cats and King did not give this a good review, which is stunning to me because, I mean, look at that. How can that not be great? That's definitely in the running. Incubus. Now, Criminoli tried to say that this wasn't trashy enough. Everything I've heard about this book makes it sound super trashy. This is Ray Russell's Incubus. Now, I know Ray Russell is in the Penguin Classics with a couple of his books. Incubus is not one of those books about some sort of sex demon or something. Yeah, no woman is safe from the lethal lust of the Incubus. Greg at Another Bibliophile Read says this book is way trashy. So I'm thinking Incubus. I mean, it's a sex demon. I mean, how could it not be like super trashy?
What? What is it? Whispered Henry in hoarse accents. God, what can it possibly be? I know not, replied Mr. Marchdale. I did seize it. It was cold and clammy like a corpse. It cannot be human. Not human. Look at it now. It will surely escape now. No, no. We will not be terrified thus. There is a heaven above us. Come on, and for dear Flora's sake, let us make an effort yet to seize this bold intruder. I forgot to mention Varney the Vampire or the Feast of Blood, a 2-volume epic which I will be reading at the end of Garbaugust, if I dare.
What is that? I have a couple Western trashy items here. First of all, I got a whole box full of edge. Edge was a series of 60 super violent westerns. Criminoli has been reading these and says they're great. So I've been getting as many Edge books as I can. I'm only missing a few now. I've got quite a few of the Edge books. This is the first 3 of them. So I kind of feel I should read at least one Edge book so I can get some pulpy westerns in. Which brings me to my next item. Now, apparently, any kind of novelization at all, or anything based off of a movie or a television show, does sort of automatically qualify as trash. Now, I know that if you're a fan of a particular show and you buy books off that show or film or whatever, you're probably not going to think so. But yeah, there is something inherently trashy about novelizations or books based off of film or television characters. And as I was going through books for June on the Range, I did find a book based on the television show Gunsmoke by Gary McCarthy. First in a new Western series, although I've never seen any of these except for this one. So I do have a paperback Western based off of Gunsmoke, which sounds awesome. I liked Gunsmoke. At least I liked the first few seasons of Gunsmoke. But man, does that bring a lot of other books I can go through. First of all, let's look at a trilogy by the king of novelizations, Alan Dean Foster. This isn't an actual trilogy. It's just 3 books I have by Alan Dean Foster, who's a great writer, actually. He's really good, and he tends to write really good novelizations. Like, sometimes they're even better than the films they're based off of. And I think that's probably true of this one. This is Clash of the Titans by Alan Dean Foster. Alan Dean Foster, by the way, did the novelization for the first Star Wars film. George Lucas put his name on it, but Alan Dean Foster actually wrote it, and that was actually really good. I think a lot of us who were around when Star Wars came out read that book. I have not read Clash of the Titans, though. It is a really cheesy movie. If you've never seen the movie, it's good, cheesy fun. I have a feeling that the book is probably a lot better than the film. It came from the page. Another fantastic BookTube channel who is joining us for Garbaugust sent me this next book because I had been looking for this book forever, and I was thrilled to get it, which means I'm probably going to read it during Garbaugust, and that is a novelization of The Thing by Alan Dean Foster. This is a novelization of the 1980s version of The Thing. Great cover. It's not a cover from the film. I think they might have done an edition with a cover from the film, but this one is not. I have a feeling this probably came out before the movie did, and a lot of the movie merchandising did, but I'm not sure about that, but I've been looking for it forever. I love this cover. Alan Dean Foster writes good books. I thought The Thing was an amazing film, so of course, The Thing. And the last on this list also crosses over with another BookTube event, Book Trek 2022, created by Vin at Revenant Reads, where we just read Star Trek books. Or not just, but we do read Star Trek books. And this is the trashiest Star Trek book I could find because it's got that little fake price sticker on it because it packs 3 Star Trek logs, the log volumes, into one book. The Star Trek logs were a series of books by Alan Dean Foster which were based off of episodes from the cartoon. So it's the Star Trek cartoon that came out in the 70s, I think. That's just extra trashy. But those stories were good, and Alan Dean Foster is a really good writer, so it's probably great. It looks trashy, though. Which makes me think about Book Trek in general. Now, Book Trek... So Star Trek books are probably just trashy. I've got a couple other Star Trek books here. This is Corona. Oh no, a novel of current day. No, it's not. But I've got a couple of Star Trek books here, and they're extra trashy to me because they're wearing the uniforms from Star Trek the Motion Picture, and those were just awful uniforms. Look at them. Look at Kirk and Spock in their pajamas. That was just... I got a couple extras. I don't know if I'll have time to do this though, because there's so much else. Let's get into what else there is. Of course, there's Prophecy. This was given to me by Justin at This Just In, another co-host of Garbaugust, a novelization of the film The Prophecy. Now, this is one of those novelizations that they had that didn't admit to being a novelization. But it is a novelization of Prophecy. It's based off the film Prophecy, which was a cheesy movie. I mean, it was a lot of fun, but also terrible. So I'm pretty sure this book is cheesy, terrible fun from the author of The Omen, David Seltzer. I kind of feel like this is a must, right? Is this a must? I kind of think it is. Of course, I have a ton of books based on Indiana Jones, which is, I mean, a whole series of books based on Indiana Jones. Of course I have them. Of course. So I've got that. I have a couple Buck Rogers books. This is Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, based on the film. I also got this from Justin from This Just In. This is based off of the movie that was also a television pilot for the really super cheesy Buck Rogers TV show that took place in the early 80s. I also have Rogers Rangers, the exciting new sequel to the original Buck Rogers novel. So despite him looking like he's from the Buck Rogers television show, I think that is actually a sequel to this, which is Armageddon 2419 AD, the original Buck Rogers novel by Philip Francis Nolan. So this is the original Buck Rogers novel. So I think that must be based off of that. But the crown jewel of my novelizations would be my series of Planet of the Apes omnibus volumes. There were 4 of these that came out when the last Planet of the Apes movie came out, which I think was 2017. And they reprinted all of the old Planet of the Apes movie adaptions. They reprinted the adaptions of the television show, the short-lived live-action television show, which was fun. And they also did novelizations of the cartoon series, which is extra trashy. So, yeah, I've got all of those Planet of the Apes books. I mean, that's a lot of reading in itself. That would probably take up a lot of my time. What else do I have? I have some science fiction garbage. Fur Magic, about a little boy who's turned into a badger, I think. I think this is YA trash. I think so. You've got nice little pictures in there of this adventure. It's like based off a Native American story, maybe? I don't know. Corey finds adventure in the magic and mythology of the North American Indians. Yeah, so Fur Magic. I've also got Warriors of Numas. I mean, this is an actual book with this terrible, terrible cover. This cover is so bad. It's so bad this has to be absolute trash. Of course it is. I'm not sure this is absolute trash, but The Greatest Adventure has just a trashy-ass cover too. So, of course, by John Taine. A great novel of evolution gone wild. They found a lost world of weird monsters. Yeah, this has got to be trash, right? It's got to be. It's got to be trash. So there's that. There's World Without Men, which I'm thinking is almost certainly something I should read. I've got Space Viking. I don't know how trashy this actually is, but, look at this guy. He's a space Viking. How can a space Viking book be not trashy? I don't know. We got The Bite of Monsters by Dennis O'Neil, who is actually Denny O'Neil, who wrote a bunch of Batman comic books. So this is a Batman comic book writer. He wrote a bunch of other comic books too. But he also wrote The Bite of Monsters. Beware. Serpes, snake-like invaders, considered Earthmen fit only as subjects for weird scientific experiments. Wow. Okay, watch out for the Serpies. Snake-like aliens ruled the earth. Only one man had the guts to fight back. Very often in trashy adventure type stories, only one man has the guts to fight back. Or, in the case of this next book, one woman. I got this in a little free library. I haven't read it yet, and it just looks super trashy. This is Nylon Angel. It's Nylon Angel. Look, I'm the Nylon Angel. I love her outfit, though. Yeah. It looks slightly trashy. And for some reason, I haven't read it yet. I have no idea why. I mean, look at it. It's Nylon Angel. Gotta read that. And finally, last but not least, I've got some historical trash. Some of I've got recently, so you might have seen them. I've got The Forest Lord, Passion and Violence, Love and Death, a magnificent lusty novel of the American wilderness. This is lusty. It's lusty. It's The Forest Lord. Look at this guy. That's trashy stuff right there. Whenever you got somebody tied up to a post and there's somebody else there with a whip, it's probably trash. Probably. Then we've got The Long Knife. It's The Long Knife. A blazing novel of a new frontier and the passions of the men and women who tamed it. A lot of times if you've got a paperback with the word passions on it or passion, it's probably trash. Probably. I just got this, Lysander. Now, it does have a super pulpy cover, so I'm hoping it's trashy. It looks kind of trashy. It's a spectacular novel of love and war in the ancient world. So, yeah, look at Lysander. That just looks trashy to me. It goes right along with Traitor's Legion. It's Traitor's Legion. A vivid action-packed novel of Rome's days of shame and glory. Shame and glory. Sounds like a Garbaugusty combination. Now I'm going to close out with a book by my very favorite writer of all time. I love this writer, but this looks to be straight up trash. This is the She-Devil. I've read some of these stories, I think, if they're the stories I'm thinking of. And they're pretty trashy. Stories that Robert E. Howard did for the spicy pulps. Ooh, they were spicy, but they were spicy like in the 20s and 30s, so, you know, probably not that spicy, if you know what I mean. But it's got the She-Devil on it and this pirate guy down there. She, as beautiful as an African sunset, as deadly as a lioness enraged, as wanton as a summer storm. As wanton as a summer storm. I didn't even know summer storms were wanton. Now I know. So, I mean, that's a lot of garbage, right? I need your help. If you saw anything there that you're like, no, read that. Read that, Mike. Let me know. And I will prioritize it for next month. Wow, that's a lot of garbage. I will catch you next time when it's a lot cleaner around here. Okay, guys. Bye now.